Hey everyone, Mysherri here. For you guys who do not know me, I am the Truckers Accountant. I help trucking companies to scale their business to 7 figures with my 7-figure roadmap and GPS method so that they're able to put their businesses on autopilot. Doesn't that sound good? Thank you for joining me. So today, what I want to talk to you guys about is 3 ways that you can evaluate and improve your business. Real simple ways that you can just take your business to the next level. So the first thing that you want to do when you're trying to take your business to the next level is that you want to evaluate your fuel on a regular basis. So I know you're thinking, hey, I always look at my fuel to see how much I'm spending on it. I'm talking about evaluating your fuel on a different level. So when you're looking at your fuel and you're evaluating it and you say, hey, this is what I spent, I want you to go deeper and evaluate it from the perspective of how are your drivers driving? Are they getting too much fuel? How are they filling up? If you have multiple drivers, compare the fuel that they're spending. Are you taking advantages of fuel discounts? Fuel is one of the main costs in your business that is a determining factor. So make sure you're evaluating it on a regular basis and comparing it against something. So I had a company where I work with a company and their driver, they couldn't figure out why they were spending so much fuel on 1 week because the driver was filling up his fuel on the weekend. So he was filling up on Friday and he would sit and then he would fill it all up and sit until Monday. Well, what happens when you do that is that now that income that you had coming in for that week, it's now counted for the next week. And that's more expenses on the previous week as opposed to that week. So it kind of gives you an inaccurate number for when you're doing your evaluation. So just be cautious of when you're doing your fuel. Start evaluating it from that perspective. Is your driver being smart about filling up? And then are you, as the owner of the company, are you being smart about telling your driver how to fill up? Because they may not always know, and it's not necessarily their business. It's your business. So you want to make sure that you are taking it a step further and doing that. That's how the larger companies do it. Okay. The next one is your break-even analysis. So I talk to a lot of trucking companies and they say, hey, I want to make this amount every week. That's fine. That's your goal. I'm down for setting a goal. But I want you to know what your break-even analysis is, meaning that at what point are you not making a profit? And at what point do you have to say, hey, I got to cut the line here because this is not profitable for me? You have to know that before you hit the road so you can make that evaluation and move forward. So if your break even is $1.50, you should not be going under $1.50 to break even. Now, there are some circumstances, right? People who are going to Florida, you can get into Florida, but you can't come back out of Florida. It's going to be lower. But maybe you had a $3 load going into Florida, and maybe you had a lower load coming back, but it averages out to be okay. That's okay. That's when it's okay. But just know that's what you do. If you're speaking to your dispatcher, make sure that your dispatcher knows what your goal is, not what your break even is. Make sure they know what your goal is, because just because that's your break even, that doesn't mean that the dispatcher can say, oh, this is the break even, I'll make sure they get this. Like, no, you let them know what your goal is. So if your break even is $1.50 and your goal is $2, you let that dispatcher know that you don't go under $2. You know personally what you can go under, but you let that dispatcher know, no, you don't, ma'am, you don't go under $2. So just keep that in mind. And then my third one is just your truck maintenance. Now, what do you mean about truck maintenance? Now, I have people who, this is big, because if you're doing that daily routine with your truck maintenance, it's going to lower your costs overall. It's not when the breakdown is going to happen, if the breakdown is going to happen, It's not if the breakdown is going to happen, it's when the breakdown is going to happen. So if you are just continuously doing your maintenance, those small things, you won't run into the big things that would knock you down or take you out. So maybe while your driver's on the road, you schedule for them to do those pre-checks and those post-checks so that you won't have a major tire breakout, blowout at 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and then who's calling? Do they call you or do they have somebody else to call? That's a whole nother story. You're going to have to check out that video too. So who are they calling? Make sure you're doing your maintenance on your trucks. It's vital. Because if a truck go down, we all know that you're not thinking about, you can pay for the truck, right? You can pay for the expense, but the money you lose for that truck to stay at Freightliner, and Lord have mercy if that truck is in Freightliner on a Friday and they going on the weekend, who Jesus? That's just like, now you got to worry about your driver, you got to worry about your trucks, you got to worry about that. And if you have multiple trucks, we all know that, yes, you got multiple trucks, but you got to make sure those trucks are up and running and they're profitable. So in order for them to be profitable, you got to be doing the routine things. Think of it as your car. You don't just ride it until the oil, there's no more oil in it. And then when there's no more oil in it, now you got the risk of the engine locking up and all of that. Like, that's the last thing you want is for the last thing you want is for an engine to mess up or a transmission to mess up on a truck. Is going to take time and the money. So just go ahead and do that routine maintenance. If you got to make sure you hiring a driver that knows about maintenance, then hire a driver that knows about maintenance. Make sure you writing down all the things that you want your driver to do so he can check off that list. Whatever you got to do to make sure it's getting done, you need to make sure it's getting done. Okay? So those are my 3 ways that is going to help you to improve and scale your business. Just those 3 ways. Those are the 3 main costs that you want to watch. So I just showed you how to do that. All right. So for you guys, if you're looking for some advice or you're looking to build your trucking business, take it to the next level, scale it to 7 figures, you got a couple of trucks, you got this money coming in, and you're not quite sure how to get a grasp on it and scale it to that 7 figures that you want to make, book a consultation with me, because I would love to learn more about you and your business and see if I can be a resource to you. All right. So until next time, my name is Mysherri Rose. I'm the Trucker's Accountant. I help trucking companies to scale their businesses to 7 figures with my 7-figure roadmap and GPS method so that they're able to put their business on autopilot. Guys, remember that you have the vision. I'm just the GPS to help you get there. All right. Bye.